With 2 weeks of data, we are beginning to see football transform in September. Once we have a quarter of the season sample size, we will have a better understanding of who these teams are now. However, we can look at historical metrics for 2023, and while it may not predict what will happen this year, it gives an example of the type of trends we are looking for, like how teams performed against the spread after a loss or home underdog. Today, I'm utilizing teamrankings.com to view trends for win loss against the spread and over under. So even after crazy week 2, we can feel confident we have more knowledge going forward into week 3. So here are my Pickem picks against the spread. And although we still have one more game tonight between the Falcons and Eagles, I still think there's enough information that we'll keep building towards getting a good pick for these two teams. And look, a lot of crazy stuff happening. I just got news that the Carolina Panthers are benching Bryce Young. But let's go ahead and start with Thursday's game, Patriots versus the Jets. And I'm taking the Jets here. I wanted to see the Jets be able to keep Aaron Rodgers healthy, get some momentum going. It looks like they have some options on the pass catching side and still have the ability to move the ball. And you see this over under at 37.5. There's only 9 teams that have scored under that number this season, so I would actually go with the over here. Patriots happen to be one of those teams that were on the under there, and I will take Patriots actually to cover here, and be able to make it a touchdown game, something like that. So I'm going to take Jets to win it outright, and that'll do it for that pick. I am curious to see if any changes happen to the Patriots, but right now they're playing well, and I think they may stick with Jacoby Brissett at quarterback going forward. But I'm going to go with Aaron Rodgers and that squad over there to be able to get it done. Pretty good defense. Should be a close division game. That's why I'm, going to have the Patriots here covering. And then we get into Sunday, and we got the Giants going to Cleveland. I'm going to pick the Browns to win this, and I'm going to pick the Giants to cover. It looked like the Giants were able to get Malik Neighbors, their young weapon, going. Still not too sure that Daniel Jones can avoid getting, all that pressure on him from Myles Garrett in this defense. It's going to be a very tough test for those guys. So I've got Browns winning it. It could get out of hand if there's a lot of turnovers. So that's what you got to be careful for if you're going to pick the Giants to cover. It's always going to be hard to hit the button on that. But game total wise, I can see this going over. And then we got Bears going to the Colts. Here I'm taking the Bears to win. So I'm also taking the Bears to cover. I think when it comes to quarterback play, these two guys are both, kind of in their rookie season. Anthony Richardson didn't finish in 2023, so he's only about 5, 6, 7 games in going into this week, and just college experience wise, Caleb has a lot more experience there. So I'm taking the Bears overall to win this game and get that +1. And guys, with these spreads, Vegas, they give 3 points to the home team anyway, so I don't take too much into that as a factor. So I'm taking the Bears here, and I do think this can go over. Both quarterbacks have some explosive ability, so when you have actual quarterbacks on both sides of the ball who can throw it, I'm going to lean over. And in general, NFL is just more pass happy. I can see this being a little bit of a shootout if Richardson can make some of those connections. And then next we've got Texans going to Minnesota, and there's not too many home underdogs. You've got the Vikings, the Saints, the Cardinals, the Cowboys, Rams, and the Falcons in week 13. But you have Justin Jefferson exiting the end of this last game, so I'm not sure how healthy he will be. So for me, it might not have even taken that. I just like what Stroud's being able to put together and continuing that really good campaign from his rookie season. So for me, I'm going with CJ Stroud to win this and to cover in this matchup. But again, when you look at some of these trends, as an underdog, you can see Minnesota, they've done well, 62% since 2023. And I'm taking a little bit of what we've seen in the past there to help us out. Yes, this team is a little bit different now, but the quarterback play is similar, if not better this season. The team overall should be better. So I like Minnesota in general, but again, they have that Justin Jefferson injury. And even as home underdogs, you can really whittle it down. They have performed in these spots, but if Justin Jefferson doesn't play, I cannot go for it and make that pick. Shout out to what this team's been able to do going 2-0 this far, but I just don't think they're going to be able to get it done against the Texans. They got it done against the Niners, so it's tough to pick against them. Still, Niners, they're missing a key weapon over there. I think the big injury you got to watch for with the Texans is also a running back, so we'll see how that pans out. But I'm sticking with Texans, and I'm going over. All right, so then now we move on to Eagles going to New Orleans, and again, we haven't seen the Eagles play yet. However, I'm thinking that the Saints are going to just keep rolling here. They've put up 43 points plus the last 2 weeks, and Eagles actually tonight when they play, we were going to end up seeing how Hurts does without one of his key weapons, right? Because again, although they haven't played, AJ Brown's missing tonight's game with that injury, and we don't know if he's going to play next week. Kind of a late second news we got there yesterday. And, I think that's bad, not just for the Eagles missing A.J. Brown, but also another reason being that in week 1, Jalen Hurts pretty much had a career low in PFF passing grade, 29.8. So regardless, we're not going to get a chance to see this offense at full strength, and it's going to be hard to project week 3 anyway. But we have seen what the Saints have been able to do. So even though they're the home underdog there, they've done well in an underdog spot over the past year, and I think this team's gotten a little bit better since then. So I'm going to take the Saints to win outright and cover this plus 2.5. And over under wise, I'm definitely sticking with the over. Hopefully that's not a trap, but 2 40+ point games in a row for the Saints. I'm definitely taking the over in this one. And then next we've got the Chargers going to the Steelers, 2 undefeated teams, and Steelers are a team that I hate to bet against because they always seem to get it done. They're just a really good team. You see Pittsburgh, 2-0 right now, but against the spread since last year, 12-8, 60% cover rate. So it's just not a team you want to bet against. Unfortunately, in this spot, I just haven't seen the Steelers score more than 1 touchdown. They got a touchdown in this past game. They did not get one in the first game. And the Chargers offense is starting to look explosive. They've got, another shout out to PFF. They've got a O-line grade that's been their best in 16 years, since 2009, 88.5 O-line protection grade there. And the running backs are benefiting because J.K. Dobbins, who's having a resurgence in his career, he has had 2 back-to-back 130-yard games, and that's the first time that's happened since LaDainian Tomlinson. So really crazy stuff that's going on there. I think there's just more potency in this Chargers offense, and they've got a respectable defense. So I am taking the Chargers to win, cover, and I think I'm actually more nervous about the over-under since Steelers games have been a little bit lower, but this is the lowest over-under of the week, so I will actually take the over in this game. All right, next we've got the Broncos and Buccaneers. This one's going to be a little bit quicker. You got an 0-2 team going to a 2-0 team, and the Buccaneers just got revenge from their playoff matchup against the Lions, where they were able to get it done. And I just think this team is clicking a lot more than the Broncos, who are still with that rookie quarterback, trying to figure some things out. This just isn't going to be the day for the Broncos. So I've got the Bucs winning. I've got the over 39.5, and I will take the Bucs to cover because it seems like the Broncos are having a little bit of an issue scoring and getting the ball in the end zone. So next we've got the Packers, who I underestimated, and look, flat out, the coach for the Packers is really good. I mean, he was able to get Malik Willis to have his career best game, which still wasn't asked to do too much. And the Titans seem to have an issue with turnovers. So for me, I'm going to go with the Packers to cover and win this game outright. And both teams can move the ball, so I will go over on the over-under there. And then this next game, Carolina Panthers going to the Raiders. And as I just mentioned, the Carolina Panthers have just, I believe this is official that Bryce Young will be benched for Andy Dalton, at least for week 3. So we'll get more information on that. But right as I went live, I was starting to see that. So very interesting. But either way, I was taking the Raiders in this spot. They had a good upset win against the Ravens, and that defense has always been solid. I'll take the under here, just since Raiders offense hasn't been incredible. But also the Panthers have, some issues as well. Now, I'll say as far as that over-under is concerned, we've seen Andy Dalton last year had the most yards of any Panther in 2023. So he is able to move the ball, even though he's in the late stage of his career. So that I'm not really interested in the over under here. I could definitely see it, having some new life now that Dalton's there. That's kind of a wild card if there is a new quarterback in the mix. And then the next game I've got here is the Miami Dolphins going to Seattle against the Seahawks, and we are missing Tua Tagovailoa. Dolphins earlier today signed another quarterback. I believe it was Tyler Huntley. Without Tua, I'm just not sure this offense is going to have the same potency. I'm going to go with the Seahawks to win this. I will take the over, and I'm struggling with this spread here, guys. But for me, with the backup quarterback on the other side, I'm going to go ahead and take the Seahawks -5.5. And then next here, I've got Lions going to the Cardinals. And again, I was showing the what it looks like for some of these teams when they are that home underdog, right? So Arizona here, 5-3 record as of last year, 62% cover rate when they're the home underdog, and that's what they are here. So I'm a little bit nervous there, and we do have to watch out actually for an injury, with Amon-Ra St. Brown. And this is what kind of tripped me up last week. I'm making these videos a little bit earlier and not able to get some of these injury updates to you guys. Like last week, Evan Ingram on game day tweaks his hamstring in the warmups, right? So we lose Evan Ingram right before the game, and maybe that shakes up the outcome. We thought they had a significant advantage over the Browns, but really it was just an even game and should have been more leaning the Browns' way, right? So that's something that we got to watch out for, is these injuries. And man, I hate to see that Pacheco injury. We'll talk about those guys here in a moment. But the Detroit Lions, you go over to Amon-Ra St. Brown right now. As of today, we're seeing reports he exited with 30 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. So right as that game was ending, and they lost that game, so they could have used his help. But got a leg contusion and cramping, and nothing he hasn't dealt with before. So we have to monitor if he's going to be in that game. If he's not going to be in that game, then I will be taking Cardinals. But right now I'm taking Lions to win, and I'm taking Cardinals to cover, and I'm taking the over 52.5 points. And really impressive game by the Cardinals. Shout out to those guys. I mean, great effort. Love to see them get Marvin Harrison Jr. involved. So a lot of potential there with that team too. And then next we got the Ravens going to Dallas. This is an 0-2 Ravens team, and they haven't been in this spot I think since 2015, being down 0-2. And historically, if you get down 0-3, it's a really, really rough spot to be in. And we know the Cowboys just got blown out. And again, with Vegas, they kind of give you these points here. So they're really thinking that the Ravens can get this done. But I'm going to take the Ravens. Really, Lamar is the MVP. We've got more weapons on the Ravens side of the offense, whereas the Cowboys, without Jake Ferguson, really showed that they were struggling. They were able to see, Jalen Tolbert emerge a little bit, some good catches from him, but it's really hard to run everything through CeeDee Lamb. I feel like the Ravens have the better team, but they've gone up against the Chiefs and, had a rough last week against the Raiders, who, again, have a good defense. But you can see that really tilted right towards the end of that game. So I'm going to go with the Ravens here to cover and win this game. And I'll have this at over 48.5 points. And then next, we've got the San Francisco 49ers going to LA. This will be the Niners, and I think they'll win and cover the 4.5 spread. Now that we've got both Puka Nacua injured and Cooper Kupp being injured with, I believe, an ankle. So I hate to see it, but this is how it goes. It's football. Looks like no more updates since then. So you're missing your top two players. It's going to be tough to win a game. So I'd actually bet on the under in this game. But just with how potent the Niners are, I'm not taking the under. The other Rams pass catchers, there's still some guys there that are deep field stretchers, so we could see some points going, and they still have potentially the running game there. So maybe over on that one. That's a little tough without their top two weapons. All right, and then next we've got the Chiefs and the Falcons. Chiefs going to Atlanta. I think the Chiefs get this done. Week one, it was tough. We didn't see a great performance from the Falcons, so we'll see how they do tonight versus the Philadelphia Eagles, who are man down on offense. So see how the Falcons perform, but I'm going to stick with the Chiefs. You can look at some of these trends. You know, Chiefs. I mean, I know this is an underdog, but Chiefs are kind of just crushing a lot of these trends. You know, so I'll just rock with the Chiefs here until further notice, and keep it moving on that one. I'll take the over as well. And then Monday night we got a doubleheader. Jacksonville Jaguars going to Buffalo. I will take Buffalo, and without Evan Ingram, I don't know if I want to take this +6. I'm going to just take the -6, bank on the Bills winning by more than a touchdown, and I will take the over there. And then with the Commanders going to the Bengals, I think the Bengals get their first win going against the rookie Jaden Daniels. You know, they had a struggle against the New York Giants. I think the Bengals are just a better team. And maybe they get T. Higgins back for this game. We'll see. But that'll do it for my picks. And I'll take the over-under in that one just for what it's worth. And thank you guys for watching. This is Dynasty Football Key. We'll be back next week. Good luck in your matchups. And hey, let's have a much better week. All right. We got this. See ya.